All right, we are learning about a terrifying radar outage at one of the nation's busiest airports. Air traffic control at Newark losing all communications with planes and pilots last week, and Democrats are making it political.
We do know that the Trump administration has decimated the FAA in a variety of different ways. The Trump administration is breaking the FAA.
Last week's delays only made it worse by multiple workers now taking trauma leave of up to 45 days to cope with the stress of equipment failures. Retired Blackhawk helicopter pilot, Lieutenant Colonel Darin Gaub joins us now. Good morning to you.
Okay, good morning, Isa.
Good morning. So we've heard that the equipment, according to the National Air Traffic Controllers Association, that it's antiquated. How long will it take to get new equipment and to fix this problem?
Well, it's going to take a while. Like any major government program, of course, there's funding, there's the supplying the equipment that is necessary, there's testing. All these things can take some time. And, I would say I would give it a decade to actually get fixed in total across the nation. And then that just means we're going to be operating off old equipment for a while. And unfortunately, also, it seems like this is just going to be one of those things that is going to turn into party politics like everything else does right now, with most people not even pointing towards what the actual solutions are that are needed.
Yeah, you heard Hakeem Jeffries blaming Donald Trump. The Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, reacts to that, and he is actually blaming the last administration, Biden. Keep in mind, Trump's only been in office for about 3 months. Listen to Sean Duffy.
We have really old infrastructure in America. It hasn't been updated in the last 30, 40 years. This should have been dealt with in the last administration. They did nothing. So the primary communication line went down. The backup line didn't fire. And so for 30 seconds, we lost contact with air traffic.
That's a big problem, don't you think?
It is. Now, were planes going to crash? No, they have communication devices. They can see other air traffic like GPS in the airplanes. But it's a sign that we have a frail system in place, and it has to be fixed.
What's your reaction to that?
Well, first of all, it's not just the Biden administration. Of course, it goes back before that when it comes to equipment. This is not a party issue. This is a priorities issue when it comes to funding and how you use it. Americans have seen how we've wasted money in lots of different things around the world, but generally don't seem to invest in our own infrastructure in a timely manner. That's my first response. The second one is that the biggest problem really when it comes to air traffic controllers, the people themselves, really was something that was impacted heavily by the Biden administration under their DEI hiring policies. Because I know people who are very qualified air traffic controllers who were not hired, and they should have been.
Right. And you have some of these individuals that they didn't technically walk off the job, according to the Air Traffic Controllers Association, but they left for trauma reasons. Listen to this. This is what they released. On Monday, April 28th, air traffic controllers who were responsible for separating and sequencing aircraft in and out of Newark temporarily lost radar and communications with the aircraft, unable to see, hear, or talk to them. The controllers did not walk off the job, as it has been reported. The controllers took absence under the Federal Employees Compensation Act. This program covers all federal employees that are physically injured or experience a traumatic event on the job. Look, I know it's very stressful, but can we afford to have a handful of them leave their positions for 45 days when we know that those are the people who work at Newark? They're trained for that equipment. We can't just call up someone that works in D.C. to come in and work in Newark.
Right. Yeah, we can't have people just walking off the job. And this was not that big of a deal as far as the stress on the individual. ATC stress is normal. They know that. But they're trained for even ATC zero scenarios where they lose systems and have to operate off of different means. They know this can happen. They're trained to deal with it when it happens. But to be able to turn around and say that brief period of time caused so much stress that now they need to take 45 days off and make the problem even worse, when the hiring practices and the number of people in ATC are already stretched so thin, we just can't afford to do that. We need to hire better people who are capable of handling even that, limited additional stress over that short period of time.
Right. I mean, my thoughts are we all have stress in our jobs, but you can't just take a month and a half off. Thank you so much, Lieutenant Colonel. We appreciate it.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.